The following program is brought to you by Naleo TV, the people's platform.
Keeping our island community informed and secure. Be alert, be aware, and care. Together we can have a safe Hawaiʻi.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another fun episode of the Fire Prevention Party. I am Battalion Chief Royd Henderson with the Hawaiʻi Fire Department, and today we have a new guest, a very special guest, Mr. Aaron Moniz, our Fire Prevention Inspector 1. Give a round of applause, everyone. There you go.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, that was a go. Oh, that's applause right there. There you go. There you go.
Better
Fantastic.
than
Better than the guy who was in December. Yeah. Okay, so Aaron, it's February, and
right.
obviously February has one special holiday, Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do for your wife?
I have no idea. She likes flowers delivered to her office, you know, but
okay.
she doesn't typically do the roses deal,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
So it's a challenge to find the flower that she likes.
I like
No.
it. I like it. Nah, it's dope.
No.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you find like a theme or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So Valentine's Day is a big holiday, but in February, you know, the holidays are done, and one of the things I think is always a topic out there and people ask us questions about is fires. So
Right.
specifically for us, fire investigations on houses, because we have people that unfortunately have an event at their house. Something happens, a fire catches their house, you know, unfortunately is affected by fire. And so I wanted to bring you on this month because we wanted to introduce you. You know, you've been taking care of fires for a few months for us now. We're,
Right.
you know, going over things and doing reports and whatnot. And so why don't you introduce us just real quick, like the basics of a fire investigation and kind of what happens real quick. And then we'll kind of go on the following processes.
Okay. I guess for the most part, the most important part is helping the people that got affected, right?
Mhm.
You know, bringing in Red Cross and so forth, just getting them shelter and food and water, because in these events, you know, sometimes most of the time they lose everything. They just need support, and the support usually comes from the community or community partners such as the Red Cross. And they provide, you know, means to get these individuals back up and, you know, with the supplies that is necessary for us, you know, to live, I guess.
Kind of like get them moving forward, right? Like
Right,
the big thing
right.
is, yeah. Just to kind of go over, okay, for a fire investigation, what are we going to do, right? So a lot of people think we're going to show up and we have this massive CSI lab like you guys. Okay, firefighting is not like you see it on TV. Okay,
No, definitely not.
I'm just
Definitely
throwing
not.
that out there right now. Okay, disclaimer. We do not have, you know,
A forensic lab that
like
we can
nerds in
test all
glasses
this stuff.
calling us and telling us, I've tested this compound.
No,
That
it's
doesn't-
quite.
it doesn't work like that,
yeah.
unfortunately.
So
a
an
little more
investigation is
complicated,
quite difficult in identifying what has caused the fire, because in our homes we have a lot of items, right?
Right.
Everything's plugged in, running on electricity.
Right.
Usually we have power strips
Mm-hmm.
plugged into power strips,
Which we
you know.
advise against, by the way.
Yeah, please don't do
Yes.
that. Yeah, and then we have, you know, all of our flammable materials,
Right,
like
right.
papers and so forth,
Right.
you know, strewed all over our house. And then
Right.
now you have all the furnishings, like our furnitures and drapery and carpeting. That's all flammable items that's in our house. And, you know, just one little spark, like
Yeah.
back in December, you know, one little firework can
Right.
set this off. You know, same thing in the house. You know, one miscalculated overcharged battery can
Right.
cause total destruction.
Right.
And pinpointing that in a home that is completely burnt is
Challenging.
very difficult.
Yeah, it's challenging.
So
Yeah, it's very challenging.
when we
yeah.
get called for a structure fire, we have our prevention one. It's a converted ambulance that we bring out, and it has a lot of the tools that we need
Right.
to conduct our investigation. So we bring that out. It also helps other partners that we work with to
Right.
kind of give them a little comfortable space where we can conduct whatever we conduct.
Right. Because we had one where we went to a structure fire recently, and while you and I were doing our thing, videos and photos and documenting the property,
Right.
we allowed the Red Cross to use the back of our mobile unit to take care of the homeowner that was living there. Right. So
yeah.
they could sit in the AC, sit at a table, and kind of do their thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Captain Goo for setting us up with that.
Yes.
By the way.
Thank you, Captain Goo.
Thank you, Captain Goo. We bring out the unit, we do our investigation, right? And try to, get things going. And so part of the process is we always want people to be aware is that the night we meet you or the day we meet you and we try to help you go through these things, that's just the beginning of kind of the journey through this thing, right? So,
right.
If a fire happens at your house, what do we do, right? And how do we work through it? And so we even have some brochures that we give out at fires so that they can give you a little bit of information when you're ready. And the big part about it is everybody's always confused as to what to do afterwards, right? Because you know what I mean? It's okay, this terrible event happened and my kids lost their stuff. My stuff is ruined.
It's a stressful situation.
Yeah.
Very stressful.
And then you don't know what to do afterwards, right? Which makes it infinitely worse, I think, a lot of times. So, I mean, we've had instances where we've had to sit there and say, okay, call us back and we'll work you through this and help you with the insurance company and all that kind of stuff. So, that's all part of the process too. And really, with the fires, the interesting thing I always find is that it's a really tragic event.
It is.
And we always hope that nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, that's
kind of like a firefighter
one of the best
safety
outcomes.
Guys. Yeah, it's like nobody gets hurt, right? And so it's kind of like when we give the mapping out to our firefighter safety guys, right? We want the kids to have a plan, right? So, I mean, we do fire investigations and we see houses where an entire hallway is blocked. Or, we can even talk about how, proper housekeeping it helps us out and helps you out, stop the fire spread and people that have tons of stuff in their house. Because we've been to some fire. I mean, we've been to some crazy fires, right? Where, I mean, it looks like a storage unit in someone's living room.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I mean, that kind of all goes hand in hand. You have all these wiring going on, charging stuff here and there, but all this huge fire load in the house, and just it gets pretty crazy. Once it goes up.
Yeah, because once one thing goes, the heat from that just catches the other thing, and it just. And a lot of people have said too, that people that have witnessed their own home being burned or whatever, they're holy cow,
how quick it just spreads.
Oh yeah, they're just whoa, it's took over like that. I turned around and half the living room was on fire already, and so keeping the house, good housekeeping practices,
right,
working with the chargers. We had that in October, right? We talked about lithium ion battery safety and that kind of stuff, and so even with house fires, kind of going back to it just to help the public out, I think a little bit is. After a fire and you have your insurance, unfortunately, it's a long process, right? I mean, it's not something that happens overnight. So some of the things that we talked about was having your insurance paperwork either backed up digitally online.
Okay, that's a good idea.
And have those things. Because the other thing is having a list of medications, all that stuff. Because for instance, I give you an example, right? We have our medical form that we give out, right? So hopefully we can get link posted to that. And so we have the medical form that has all your medications on it for fire when we show up. But when you leave your house, I mean, you kind of have to have information. So even like a thing like a go bag, right? They talk about that. Having a little go kit, or having a secondary place where you keep stuff would be really helpful.
Like a safety deposit box in the bank.
Or like, I don't know, or my cousin's house or something. I leave a little just envelope that says, hey, here's my insurance paperwork. Here's my, basic XYZ or whatever, leave it at your workplace in your drawer or something, just to have a second place. Because when we get to these fires, sometimes we say, oh, who's your insurance agent? Oh, I'm not sure. We got to go find out. And that delays the process significantly because not everybody's aware of who their insurance agent is, right? So,
right.
Those are things, I don't know, little tips that we can give, that help people.
I guess another tip would be like if you're renting also, maybe get some renter's insurance.
100%.
Yeah. Because we had an incident and they didn't have no insurance.
Right.
No renter's insurance. Right. And they lost a lot.
Right. Yeah. Right. And it's really tough, right? I mean, you're renting a place, something happens, whether it's your fault or not. I mean, the event happened, right? And so Now, what do? You don't have insurance.
Yeah, you don't own the home. Now, the homeowner might get help from his insurance company, right? But you're left with nothing.
Right. So that's a big one. Just reaching out to family and friends. Like I said, giving out information is always positive. Being fire safe. Some of the fires that we go to, I think some of them you cannot help, and some of them you realize that people, if they were a little more careful with what they were doing,
Right.
Cooking
little
in
changes.
weird places.
Making little changes in your day-to-day life.
For instance, like working smoke alarms, right? That helps. Because
changing
we put
the
that in our
battery.
report, just throwing that out there. We have to document whether you had working smoke alarms or not, or if you had fire extinguishers in your home. Those are important things I think would help out.
And that's easy to do,
Right.
Just test it once a month or something. Change the battery every year.
Yeah.
Simple, it takes about 5 minutes less.
Right. Just to be safe, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, not a problem.
We
Thanks
could
for
probably
having
talk about
me.
this forever. Yeah,
Right.
It's fun to help people out. We're out there. We're the guys that come after the aftermath, right? After the fire, and we're the guys that are going to come and help you out. So we appreciate, like I said, as always, we appreciate everyone in the community always reaching out and helping us keep the community safe. All our community partners, my wonderful inspector here, and everybody at Naleo TV, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for another edition of the Fire Prevention Party.
Aloha, and welcome to another episode of Police Profiles on Safe Hawaii. I'm Denise Leitonen with Hawaii Police Department, and I'm so excited because today joining me from Oahu is Amanda Leonard, who is with the Missing Child Center Hawaii, which is part of the state Hawaii Department of the Attorney General. Amanda, thanks so much for joining me today.
Aloha, Denise. Thank you so much for having me.
Such a pleasure. And for our viewers that are not familiar with the Missing Child Center, you're a lawyer by training. You have managed the Missing Child Center for the past 8 years, I believe, and you're also the statewide Miley Amber Alert Coordinator. So we're going to be jumping in, talking about the Missing Child Center, Missing Keiki in Hawaii. For our viewers that are unfamiliar with the program, what is the Missing Child Center all about?
So the Missing Child Center Hawaii is a specialized criminal justice program within the Attorney General's office. It's a very small office, just two of us, and we serve primarily as the state's missing children clearinghouse, as well as a resource center for law enforcement, social services, and families of missing children. We operate statewide, and so we serve all 4 counties, including Hawaii Island. And we handle all types of missing child cases.
And what are some of the high-profile cases that your office has been involved with recently?
Well, I think anytime there is a serious child abduction, it does get a lot of local and even national media attention. One that comes to mind last year in the summer, we assisted Hawaii Police Department with a very serious custodial interference case that crossed state lines. And so that case required Missing Child Center to coordinate with another state to
Arizona, correct?
Correct. And that would be the Arizona Department of Public Safety, as well as the FBI, to coordinate the recovery of the child once that child left our jurisdiction. So luckily, that was a successful recovery thanks to our state requesting the state of Arizona to issue what is called a turquoise alert. And thankfully, that resulted in the safe recovery of the child.
You bring up a good point about the criteria for a Miley Amber Alert. And I think there's a lot of confusion out there in the public. Like, when you have a missing child, when does it become a Miley Alert?
Well, first I want to answer that question by saying that not all missing children are going to end up with a Miley Amber Alert. The criteria is very specific. It has to be a minor, of course. There has to be an abduction and a belief by police that that child is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death. Finally, there has to be enough information on the child and the suspect or the suspect's vehicle that would help the public be able to locate the missing child.
Like be on the lookout for a red car versus a pickup truck versus
Correct.
a
If we
van
don't,
or
if we don't have
something.
actionable information, it's not going to be helpful. So if we're going to make a decision to hit, a lot of people's cell phones with an emergency alert, and it's a very, very serious decision to make. If we're going to do that, we have to have actionable information that the public can act on, whether it's be on the lookout for the vehicle, be on the lookout for the suspect and the child, and call 911 if you see the child, and really help law enforcement locate that child as quickly as possible. Time is the enemy in all of these cases.
So you work statewide, you're based on Oahu. How often are you working with your partners on the mainland at different agencies?
It just depends. If we do have a missing child case where one of the a Hawaiʻi kid is either travels on loan to the U.S. mainland or is taken to the U.S. mainland, we are already set up with our contacts and our counterparts in the other states. So the Justice Department actually runs the National Amber Alert Program, and they ensure that we know who to call in different states if we do have an incident. And I will say, there are times when other states ask us for assistance. So the public doesn't usually see that, but we do get out-of-state requests for assistance where we are helping another state to locate one of their children that has come into our state.
Gotcha. And I know you're based on Oahu. You're not often here in Hilo. What are some of the new initiatives that your office is involved in this year and that might bring you to the Big Island more often?
Well, it's always a pleasure to be on the Big Island and Hilo. I love it here. So one of the things that we're really focused on this year and going forward is training and education. We are now doing in-person trainings at all 4 county police academies. So the reason why I'm here today in Hilo is that I was asked to train the new police recruits for the 105th class with Hawaiʻi Police Department. And we're just so excited because we know that being able to train new officers that are going to, start off in patrol level, that's going to be extremely important in terms of missing child response here locally and statewide. It is a first responder that first encounters the missing child incident. And so it's absolutely imperative that they are trained and aware of signs and know exactly what to do, especially in a child abduction scenario.
And that's a good point, and it recalls an incident that we had a few years back where we had a case of there was a reported missing 5-year-old girl, I believe, and she was reported missing. She was autistic. She had on a pink shirt and I think unicorn pajamas. And in that particular instance, there was a recruit officer. I think he was just a couple weeks on patrol, on solo patrol, and, very eager and staying on top of everything, and had turned on he's getting ready in the morning, getting breakfast ready, and he looks out his window and he sees this girl across the street out from his kitchen window, and it's a 5-year-old with a pink shirt and unicorn pajamas. And he's just thinking to himself, he doesn't have any information yet because he hasn't gone to work yet. And he's like, I didn't think my neighbors had children. So it's kind of unusual to see a 5-year-old wandering around by themselves in the early morning light. And as he proceeds to go about his day, gets in his car, is on his way to the station to start his shift, and up pops a notice, a bolo notice, be on the lookout for this 5-year-old girl in a pink shirt and unicorn pajama bottoms. And he just did a U-turn, came back, found the girl right away. And I remember you and I discussing that case a few years back.
Yes, that was truly incredible. I have chicken skin hearing this story again. At the right place at the right time. And that is really the essence of My Amber Alert, is when we are asking the community to assist us is because we do need eyes and ears out there. Somebody's in the right place at the right time. There's so many stories like that. And again, timing is critical. Had he not recovered that child when he did, who knows what could have happened. And so it's absolutely important to that we are making sure that all of our officers are trained and that the public is aware of what to do in a situation like that, because it affects everyone in the community.
And he was just a couple of weeks out of the academy himself. So,
Well, I wish I said I trained him, but I can't verify that.
but moving forward, now you're going to be able to say
Right.
that.
Now
So-
we're in all 4 county police academies, and it's just an absolute honor and privilege.
So is the Big Island the first one that you're training the recruits, or have you already started
Well, I
on the
actually
other
started
islands?
with Honolulu Police. They were the folks the agency that first asked me to do it. Was this sergeant named Kaipo Paiva. He said, hey, he attended one of my trainings. He said, hey, have you thought about doing the academy? And he was the one that started that process. And then from there, it was a chain reaction where the other counties were like, hey, why don't you come to talk to our recruits? Because again, patrol is a absolutely vital. One of the most important responders is patrol, to taking that report and pushing that information up to make sure that all of the response is occurring in coordination with our office.
And you also deal with our detectives and our canine handlers, correct?
Yes. It is my pleasure to work with the juvenile aid section. We've been working with them for many, many years, and we were previously involved with canine donations. And it's just incredible to watch that program thrive, because the missing person canines, they save lives.
Absolutely.
Here and across the country, there's just incredible stories of canines rescuing missing children, and of course missing kupuna and missing adults. So they are an absolutely vital resource. So we don't underestimate what those dogs do.
Yeah, I know Canine Scout, who's beloved by you and myself and many others. He helped locate a missing kapuna yesterday who was
Incredible.
endangered. So
Case in point,
yep,
they save
absolutely.
lives, and they have a really great work ethic. So yeah, we really we continue to support Hawaiʻi Police Department's canine program in any way we can.
And it's very much appreciated. What else do you want our viewers to know about the Missing Child Center Hawaii?
We want to make sure that parents and families out there know that we are a free resource for any families of missing children across the state. They can contact us at 808-586-1449. And we want to make sure that parents know that there is no waiting period to report your child missing or runaway. So first, call 911, make that report, and then contact us.
Gotcha. Well, I know we have to wrap up, but Amanda, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you, and you do so much for the community, but behind the scenes that people are unaware of. So I am so thrilled to have you in the spotlight here today on the show.
Denise. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to Naleo TV for inviting us here today to share our work. Mahalo.
Thanks. And stay tuned for our next episode of Safe Hawaii and Police Profiles. Aloha.
I am Officer Kaipo Aurello of the Hawaiʻi Police Department, and I'm here to ask for your assistance in locating individuals who you will see in just a moment. Our department depends on you to work with us by acting as our eyes and ears out in the community. If you provide an anonymous tip through Crime Stoppers, you may be eligible for a reward of up to $1,000. Crime Stoppers is a volunteer program run by ordinary citizens like you who want to keep our community safe. Here's how it works. First, get a code. Next, use your code to track your status and then collect your reward. It's that easy. Here are some individuals we need your help in locating. Please call if you know their whereabouts.
Please be on the lookout for 26-year-old Joseph Marquez Jr. of Kapa'au, who is wanted on an arrest warrant, as well as for questioning relative to multiple criminal investigations involving abuse of a family household member. Marquez is 5 feet 10 inches tall, 180 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes, and goes by the name Pata Boy. Help us find 33-year-old Chase Kakela Gambill, who is wanted on 2 outstanding warrants with a total bail of $55,000. Gambill has an average build, 5 feet 9 inches tall, about 177 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He also has a large tattoo of the Big Island on his torso near his navel. His last known address was in Waikoloa Village, and he is known to frequent the Waikoloa Village and Waimea areas. Be on the lookout for 38-year-old Jamie Leslie, who is wanted on an outstanding warrant with a total bail amount of $5,000. He has an average build and is 6 feet tall, around 160 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Last known to live in the Waikoloa Village area, Leslie is known to also frequent the Waimea area. We are looking for 22-year-old James Dan Anchetta Grimes III, who is wanted on one outstanding warrant with a total bail of $5,000. Grimes has a slender build, is 5 feet 8 inches tall, about 140 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. His last known address was in Waikoloa Village, and he is known to frequent the Waikoloa Village and Waimea areas. We are looking for 43-year-old Cole Race Joaquin of Honoka'a, who is wanted for a $50,000 arrest warrant. Race Joaquin is 5 feet 7 inches tall, 150 pounds, with black hair, brown eyes, and numerous tattoos on his face and body. He is known to frequent the Puna, Hamakua, and Ka'u districts and should be considered armed and dangerous. Help us locate 39-year-old Casey Hui Assam, who has 2 outstanding warrants totaling $35,000. Known to frequent the Honoka'a and Waimea areas, Hui Assam is 5 feet 10 inches tall, 190 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. We are looking for 41-year-old Robert James Tenari Carmen, who is wanted on an outstanding warrant with a total bail amount of $50,000 and an outstanding all-points bulletin for second-degree burglary. He has an average build, is 5 feet 7 inches tall, 175 pounds, with black curly hair and brown eyes. Tenari Carmen's last known address is in the Kona area, and he is known to frequent the North Kona, South Kona, and Ocean View areas. Be on the lookout for 44-year-old Matthew Brian Cummings, who is wanted on a $50,000 warrant. Cummings is Caucasian, 6 feet tall, 165 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Cummings was last known to live in the South Kona area and frequents the Kona area. We are looking for 34-year-old Gabriela Marie Kuitugua Hase, who is wanted on an outstanding warrant with a total bail of $5,000. Hase is 5 feet 1 inches tall, 125 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Her last known address was in the Kailua Kona area, and she is known to frequent the Kona area. Please help us locate 33-year-old Christopher Matos, who is wanted on 3 outstanding warrants and 6 all-points bulletins. Matos has a large build, is 5 feet 11 inches tall, 195 pounds, with short black hair and brown eyes. He is known to frequent the lower and upper Puna area. Matos is also known to be armed and dangerous and should not be approached. Please be on the lookout for 44-year-old Ross Piper of Ocean View, who is wanted on 1 outstanding warrant totaling $2,000, as well as for questioning relative to multiple criminal investigations involving auto theft. Piper is described as 5 feet 9 inches tall, 165 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Call us if you know the whereabouts of 39-year-old Kendrick Sanders, who is wanted for questioning for multiple criminal investigations involving violating a temporary restraining order. He is described as being 5 feet 11 inches tall, 180 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Sanders is known to frequent the Ocean View and South Kona areas. Be on the lookout for 34-year-old Kira Lazar, who is wanted for an outstanding warrant totaling $50,000. Lazar is described as being 5 feet 9 inches tall, 130 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. She is known to reside in the Ocean View area.
As always, we want to thank you for your assistance in helping us to locate these individuals. Tipsters who prefer to remain anonymous may call the island-wide Crime Stoppers number at 808-961-8300 and may be eligible for a reward of up to $1,000. Crime Stoppers does not record calls or use caller ID. Hawaii Island's Most Wanted is a project of Crime Stoppers Hilo Inc., which is a partnership of the business community, the media, and the police. It was inspired by the national TV show America's Most Wanted. I am Officer Kaipo Aurello of the Hawaii Police Department. Mahalo for watching.